How you doing, everybody? Welcome to the Eye Test, the show where we make you question what you see on the stat sheet with what you see with your eyes. I am your host, Mark Coles, and I am with my friend Shawn Redacted. How are you doing, guy?
That is no friend of mine. I don't know who that fella is. You know what I'm saying? But good luck to you with you and your friendship with that guy. Shawn is here. Shawn Williams, but that's fine.
Mm.
Um, if you're asking me how I'm doing, Mark, then yeah, I'm doing pretty good. I'm doing all right.
Yeah, I hope so. I hope you're doing good, man. I mean, this is 2 weeks in a row, so wow, like you know what I mean, like special occasion. I feel
That's
like
not.
I,
That's not.
I
That's
feel
not.
like feel like this is a special occasion, something to be excited about.
That's not what we doing here, man. That's not what we doing here.
I
Is
don't.
this how we gonna start the show? Okay.
What I'm just saying, man. It's been so long. Like consistency, I love it. It's awesome.
Look, man. Look. Wait till we get to the third week in a row. Then we can talk. But
Yeah,
yeah.
but yeah, man.
But
Listen, you and I've already been talking, so you already know what we about to do today. Only the people don't know what we're about to do today. So, essentially, it's gonna be more of the same. We're just gonna fly by the seat of our pants, and hopefully something sticks. If it don't, oh well. If it do, great. Anyway, so let's do this, man. Um, I ain't gonna waste no time talk with anything. Let's just get right into it. Right,
bet.
records have been broken. A record that has been long standing and we thought was not going to be broken in the modern era of basketball has been broken and it is probably going to be like far exceeded at this point because Russ looks healthy again. Looks like he has quite a few years left in his tank. Russell Westbrook being the subject here, he broke the triple double record last night in a loss. Uh, so
We gonna get. I'm gonna let you continue. I don't want to
yeah,
interrupt you. I'm gonna let you continue.
but yes, it was in a loss. It wasn't a loss, unfortunately, and it sucks because you know what I mean. Some people like it. It's if some of it's the narrative and some of it is just like these things happen. Like it was a tight game.
Okay, but Mark, you know what?
Come
Nah,
on,
I'm not even gonna let you do that.
come,
I'm
come
gonna
on.
stop you right now because I got the feeling there's gonna be some cap coming, and
Oh yeah.
I'm gonna shut that shit down before you
Okay.
get there
All
because I
right,
have
come
to
on, come on.
look,
This is
man.
what we're here for. Let's do it.
This shit was the most Russell Westbrook shit ever.
That's what they
He
say.
breaks it. He breaks it. He breaks the triple double record.
Mm-hmm.
He does it in a loss.
Mm-hmm.
And if you look at the final shot that was taken, they were down by 1 point, and he jacks up a 3 pointer.
Right.
Mark, I, it's Russ, man. Like this shit is
Okay.
like
Well, no, no.
I wouldn't want it to happen any other way, Mark.
Well, no. Here now because I do have a question for you about that, about jacking up the 3 foot pointer because you saw like I saw on the very last play because this was going to be a part of my topic today. On the very last play, did you or did you not see he was being double teamed and he got trapped? He got trapped. He got
Yes.
trapped. He got trapped at the 3 point line, and then but then like not only that, but you could see partially the reason why he was trapped is because he was looking for a pass, and like so he was slow coming up the court.
No, no, and I'm it that exactly, Mark. That's my
Mm-hmm.
see. My problem is the point of me bringing up the 3 pointer was to talk about his decision making at the end of the game, which is something that people have always
So
said he has a
so
problem with. Mark,
well
Mark,
so
what I'm
well
saying. Go ahead. You said he
no.
was hesitating because he was looking for a pass. I feel like in that scenario he shouldn't have been looking for a pass.
So you're saying in that scenario you would have rather him just because this is where I say he can't win. This is exactly where I say Russell Westbrook cannot win because had he had he just came down the court like using his athleticism and barreling down and trying to go and trying to weave past. If something was to happen to where he didn't get past or he missed that shot, they would have been like, well, look at Russ. You know what I mean? Russ, selfish Russ. You know what I'm saying? There he goes
Okay,
again.
now,
So,
but Mark, you talking to me? I'm not one of these detractors. Okay,
but I'm
so
not.
what?
But I'm not speaking to you. I'm
Okay,
speaking
no,
to
oh no, you're
there.
fine.
There is
No, you're
no
right. No, there's nothing there's nothing that he could have done in a loss on that last play that would have satisfied anybody that has something to say about him. No, you're absolutely right. They would have said he was selfish. They would have said, oh man, so you got 20 something assists, but the one play, last play of the game, you don't want to pass. You know what I'm saying?
right.
Like they would have, no matter what he would have done. But I guess my point for me, Mark, my point is he came down, he was looking to pass, and he did the one thing that you can't do, and that's dribble it to the corner, because that's exactly how you get trapped. You have to, if you're dribbling to the corner, you have to have already made up your mind of what you're gonna do. Especially last play of the game, you're Russell Westbrook. You're the guy on the team. They're gonna trap you. That's what they're supposed to do. He played directly into what the defense wanted him to do. They pushed him there, and he went there. He should have, if he was looking for his shot, he wouldn't have went to that corner.
No, but at the same time, here at the same time, it's not. He didn't have. It wasn't like it wasn't a clean shot. He had a clean shot. He had, and it wasn't.
But he
and
hesitated.
and it wasn't like it was a bad. And it wasn't like it was a bad shot neither. He put up a good shot. It was short. It literally hit it hit the rim. It was a little short. How many times? Like this is, I guess my issue is that he's not allowed mistakes, or he's not allowed to be any other player, because any other player in the NBA, like we're acting like Kyrie is stone cold, and he hits every game winning shot that he's ever shot. You know what I'm saying? We act like LeBron is running around hitting every game winning shot that they ever shot. Like, no, these people aren't stone cold artists. Like, there's a lot of tape that I could pull up and show, like, where it came down to you're down by a point.
Yep.
They pulled a shot up and they miss, and nobody said, "Oh, this is yet another example of you being a piece of shit." Like,
Man, I don't think I don't know what other people are saying, Mark.
right.
That's not where I was coming from, so I don't know. Maybe, but if you told me that people are saying that, I wouldn't even be surprised, yo. But but you're right though. There's nothing that like even with me, even though I feel like this is a moment where all the stuff that they put on him might have been a little bit true, because I feel like he had a great game, Mark.
No, like
you understand what I'm saying? Like I can't, you can't win them all.
no, but I understand. Like, I understand where the narrative comes from. Like, I understand where the narrative, like, because anytime you're building a narrative about anybody, it's truth in it, but it's not the whole truth, or you are isolating certain things to be like this. Like, if I was, like, for instance, it came up earlier. Like, if I was to be like, Shawn's an asshole, and then I was to just highlight every time you were ever an asshole to anybody, then I could build a case to show that you're an asshole. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then once that case is built, people are going to only view you as an asshole no matter what you do going forward. Like, you could
Insane.
you could give $10,000 to 5 people in a row, and then that sixth person you're an asshole to, they'd be like, "Ah, see, there goes an example of Shawn being an asshole." Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah, it's like, I
so
see what you're saying. If the first impression is the lasting impression, especially when you have influence behind it, or somebody orchestrating
right,
that perception.
exactly. And so that's what I'm saying there. Like, because they're like, "Oh, well, this is the perfect example of Russ." yes, Russ is not a perfect player. No, he is not a perfect player. His efficiency is not great. But when you talk about, well, this is an example of Russ being Russ. Well, you mean clutch shooting? Because last time I checked, Russ leads the league in clutch shooting.
Yeah,
so,
which is fine. Yeah, yeah.
so like you know
So
what I'm saying? Like so you took the moment where he missed a clutch shot
mhm.
and said, "Look, that's Russ being Russ," but missing to highlight that fact that Russ leads the league in clutch shooting.
And just to be clear, when I highlighted the fact that he missed a shot, once again, I said it was based on the way that it happened. Not it was decision making that led him to the corner to get him trapped to him taking a shot. That's what I was talking about. But I know what you're saying. You're talking to the people that looked at that shot and was like, look at him. Look, Russ being Russ. Look at that. You know what I'm saying? You can't make this shit up. You know,
Right.
like
And
yeah,
it's
so
exactly like so that's the shit I'm talking about. Like, yes, he like so you'll use that example, but in the end, with more context, it's a bad example because he leads the league in clutch shooting. So like, yes,
mm,
he missed this clutch shot, but nobody makes every clutch shot. Like, you know what I'm saying?
yeah. Yeah. So
And it would have been and like it would have been even better. Like, it would have been more to their case if he missed it wide. If like essentially, I don't have like me personally, like I understand what you're saying about him, like him moving to the corner, and like maybe that wasn't the best idea, but I feel as though that's a little bit nitpicky, because you know what I mean. Like, he slowed down, and he was slowing down, and if your whole team is to the left or whatever, you know what I mean. You go and move.
no, I know what he was trying to do. He was trying to
Exactly.
move. He was trying to clear space. He was trying to clear
Right.
space. But I felt like he had an opportunity to take it to the rack. Like I guess for me, Mark, I guess I would just say I would want him to be a little more instinctual in that situation.
But
The
but
play
it
could be, hey, I'm going over here to make this pass. Wait a minute, I got space. I got ISO and just
but
take it
he
to the
did
rack.
but he didn't have but he
I
never
know he didn't.
he
I know
didn't have space to ISO.
I know he didn't, but I don't know. I just felt like the alternative, what he did, was not the answer.
I d- and I feel like what he did, like what do you like? There's not a whole lot of choices that would have been better. Like for
My choice, but the choice that I say would have been better is if he was more deliberate in what he was doing. It wouldn't have been as lackadaisical going across. I'm not saying lackadaisical, but you said he slowed up. He took his time. He was looking for a pass. If you just go down the court, get to the spot, things will develop a little bit quicker, and then you can figure out whether you need to pass the
but
ball or
that's
up.
but
Like
like that's what I'm
that, you can, yes, I understand what you're saying. You're saying that's nitpicking. I'm
yeah,
just saying like
because and the reason why I feel as though it's nitpicking, because I could tell you a counter argument that I've heard before where it says, "Oh, Russ is out of control. Look at him." Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, because if he flew down there to the spot or whatever, they would have been like, "Look, he's out of control. He
Man, I don't give
just
a fuck
like,
about.
you know what
Hey,
I'm saying?"
man, I
But
don't give a
I
fuck about them people talking about he's out of
no,
control.
but
Like I know
no,
what you mean. You're
but
saying like as far as narratives go, there is nothing that he could have. There's no decision that he could have made in that spot to where they wouldn't have had something to say.
yeah,
And
the
yeah,
only thing that could have happened in that spot is if he hit the shot. But even then, they would have just not. They wouldn't have gave him props. They would have not said anything at all.
well, they wouldn't have cared about that. They would have made it about him forcing his way into a triple double.
Right. But
That's what they would have said. You
see,
know, or they would have talked about the seeding, what seed they're at right now. That's what
yeah,
they would have said. You know?
yeah, they would have they. You're exactly right. They would
The
have.
opportunity would have showed itself for them to actually give him props, and instead it would have been, well, like, props for the game, because like
Right.
once you're in the game, it's like you can't say anything bad about the game that he just played, and it's just like,
Well,
well, fine, we're just gonna deflect and talk about the future. He's a 10 seed. I don't
right.
know why he like, yeah, exactly, like,
Exactly.
so
You know what I'm saying? They would
we're
just
gonna talk about something else. We're gonna change the subject.
exactly like they would continue that narrative. So
Yeah.
and in that, because I could bring up a point where, like, you know, where he felt as though there was a blocking foul, when he shot shot that ball to bring him within one, he might have been right. Like, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like that was hard. That was hard contact, and he shoots the ball. They didn't call it. So,
Yeah,
but
yeah. But and I'll say this, man. The only way that Russ could get this monkey off his back is, and I'm gonna be honest with you, Mark. He has to have a playoff run the way that LeBron had in his last year in Cleveland. That's probably the only thing that could happen for people to be like, yo, like, because I mean, if like even though LeBron lost, the Cleveland Cavaliers lost that finals and they got done up pretty badly.
mhm.
Um, I heard nobody say anything negative about that playoff run that he was on. Everybody said that's the best playoff run they've seen in a long, long, long time. You're talking about since Michael Jordan, right? As far as him just hitting clutch shot, balling out, that game one where he dropped the 50, you know what I'm saying? All that shit. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, Russ is going to need those types of performances or that type of a stretch where he's just putting on a show and doing everything he can efficiently scoring and just chopping teams up. It's the only way he's going to get rid of that, which I don't think he's capable of making that type of run. So I don't foresee Russ getting the monkey off his back as far as the narratives. If he wins a championship, because everybody knows today's NBA, you got to have at least two superstars. But even if he were to win a chip with another superstar, they would just say, "Oh, it's because he has the other superstar."
Right.
You know what I mean? That's how it's already working right now. So
Yeah.
yeah, well, that's it. That's all I got for Russ, man.
But yeah, but no, but like I said, he broke the record, man. Um, so that was it on that game. But yeah, he broke the record, he and it looks like he's got many more years left. And today I was watching Colin Cowherd and stuff, and I just find it funny when I watch these guys and I listened to Colin today say, "Well, triple doubles was never a stat I took much stock in, and all that." And I find it absolutely amazing that when Russ started getting triple doubles with ease, or making it seem easy, all of a sudden now triple doubles aren't really that much of a stat.
Mark, it's not even the fact. See, this is my problem with people that try to use that with Russ, and I'm gonna get to it real quick because everybody was okay with these Jason Kidd triple doubles. You know what I'm saying? Everybody was okay with Jason Kidd to get you be like, man, is he gonna get the triple double? He already has 13 assists and 10 rebounds, man. And you sitting there this fourth quarter, you're waiting for Jason Kidd to hit the 10-point mark.
Exactly.
Everybody's okay with them joints. Everybody's okay with Everybody's okay with Draymond's triple doubles. Once again, where you're waiting for him to hit the 10-point mark so he can get his triple double. Everybody's okay with them getting the triple doubles. You know what I'm saying? Everybody's okay when LeBron gets a triple double and he goes for 27 points, 12 rebounds, and 10 assists. That's a good triple double. But what Russ is doing is different. He's getting you 16 rebounds and 20 assists.
He's doing something insane.
If somebody went out and just got 20 assists, they would get super praise. If somebody just went out and got 16 rebounds, you'd be like, man, look at Andre Drummond. look at Joel Embiid balling. You know what I'm saying? And then if somebody just went out and individually got 30 points, you'd be like, man, that's crazy. Like, they was hooping today. He's doing all three at the same time, Mark, and it's just like, empty stats. That's the part that's killing me, man. It's one thing if Russ is getting these triple doubles and he's giving you, because he gets them sometimes, if he's giving you a 22-point game on 30% shooting.
Right.
And he does do that. And then he'll get you, 12 assists and maybe 12 rebounds. Okay. It's a little less impressive, but it's still a triple-double. So if you're arguing the importance of that, then that's fine. But you're not going to sit here and watch this man get 20 points, 20 rebounds, or 20 assists, 20 rebounds, and 30 plus points, and then be like, he's just getting meaningless stats. You know what I'm saying? Like, get out of here, dog. It's just, and then like once this, I felt like the shit should have been deaded once the stat came out and said he wins 75% of the games that he gets a triple double in.
Yeah. Well, you know what's funny?
It's helping his teams win.
You know what's funny? Today on what was I watching? I was watching Speak for Yourself, and and one of the guys on there was saying that his triple double is that his triple doubles are empty stats that don't lead to wins, and me knowing the true number that, hey, his triple doubles is at a 75% win rate. That's a false narrative, and that just speaks to everything I've always been saying about him. But I don't want to stay on Russ in particular, because I really I'm just going to defend him because he deserves the defense. You know what I'm saying?
I'm going to crunch some numbers here real quick, Mark. And, okay, so if he were to average, let's say not average, if he were to get a triple double in every single game during a regular season, okay, that would put him or his team at a 62-20 record. That's what he's doing. Okay, so and that would be that in a regular length season, that would be enough to probably win your conference. That's enough to be, if you're not the first seed in your conference, you're at least the second seed with a 62-20 record. That's what he's doing when he gets his triple doubles. That's it. I just wanted that. I hope that sits visually with people in people's minds.
Yeah. No, I feel you.
Yeah.
But no, I 1,000% I feel you, honestly. I just want, I guess, a little bit more parity, because this but one thing about this topic that has led me to a different sort of conversation was in earlier today, I was just watching sports television all day today for the most part. And what's that show? First Take. On First Take, it was said that how can you call Russ top 5 all time when he's not even top 5 today? And was
that at the point guard position, or were we talking about altogether?
Point guard position.
So they say he's not a top 5 point guard today. Okay.
Yeah, yes. And some of the people that they named was flat out ridiculous, because but it was Max Kellerman, so some of the names Max Kellerman said was retarded. Because Max Kellerman brought up AI, who AI is not a fucking point guard. So why the fuck would you bring up Allen Iverson?
People do dumb shit though. I can't. Excuse me, man. My bad. Go ahead.
But yeah, he said AI, and it was he's not a point guard though. And he also brought up, but he brought up LeBron James, who again is not a point guard, and he brought up Steph Curry, and I wanted to ask you, is it fair? Now, is it fair to say LeBron is to put him as he's not a
no,
because he's not even a point guard.
LeBron's not a point guard. I don't even feel like we need to have this discussion, but we'll have it anyway. Just to clarify, the man he's not played point guard his whole career. He played point guard last year, right?
Right.
No, we're not doing this. We're just gonna call him a point guard. You can't use terms like point forward and then conveniently call LeBron a point guard when you're trying to shade somebody, or whenever you're trying to praise LeBron. You can't just make the shit up and change the rules, move the goalposts, if you will. So no, LeBron is definitely not a point guard. He should never be categorized as a point guard unless he decides to play point guard for an extended period of time.
Mm-hmm.
So,
okay, that's that's one answer. Now, second question is it fair, or do you have Steph Curry as in your top five point guards of today?
Steph Curry in my top 5 point guards of today. Um, see, I actually do. I actually do have him in the top 5 point guards. Yes, of course.
Okay. Well, I will ask you this: is it why?
Why? Because he plays the point guard position and he's really good. Good enough to be in the top 5. I don't know, Mark. What like you want to ask me in a different way? What you looking for, man?
Well, because my question to you, I guess, yes, he's in the point guard position, but if I was building a team and I needed, if I was building a team, I would not select Steph Curry and say I'm going to play him at point. That's not like he does. He him on his team does not fulfill the point guard role. It's much like Kyrie Irving in the point guard position. Like you're not like yes, you are a point guard in name, but that's not what you're doing here. Like you're not fulfilling the point guard role.
See, okay, so I see what you're saying. Now, this is what I'll say. Maybe not, but see, I allow it for Steph because when you play in systems where it's based on ball movement and everybody's sharing the ball, there is
Right.
no one facilitator. The facilitator is the offensive scheme. And if that's the case, then he's not getting an opportunity to do it. So if he's not really being given the opportunity to do it, I mean, granted, he is a superstar. He is Steph. If he decided one day to tell Steve Kerr, look, I'm trying to run point, or I'm trying to be the facilitator, the primary facilitator, try to create me an offense, he has enough clout at this time where he can. But what I'm saying is he's not being afforded the opportunity within the system that he's playing in to be a traditional point guard or to be a facilitator. So I can't hold that against him, Mark. What I can do is say that within this particular scheme, and he is playing point guard, he is still the focal point, and he is what drives everything else that happens on his team. So even though he might not be the primary facilitator, what he does on the court opens everything up for everybody else. So
No,
in a sense, he's facilitating without passing the ball.
but that's often the role of a lot of shooting guards. Like that.
Okay.
That is the role of a shoot. Like what you just described was the role of a shooting guard.
But at the same time, the shooting guard is not bringing the ball up the court every play.
And
Steph is bringing the ball up the court every play.
well, yeah.
Steph is holding the ball most
No,
of the time.
yes.
You see what I'm saying?
Particularly,
Like
yes,
when
particularly
you're a
this
two
year,
guard,
yeah.
it's a little bit different. I mean, so I won't for me. I can't fully put him. I would not fully put him in the two guard conversation. But like I said, he's listed as a point guard. See, I understand.
But this is why. But this is why I particularly isolated Steph Curry and LeBron, because you're saying, oh, he brings the ball up every play. Well, LeBron throughout his career has brought the ball up consistently, but we're not category. But you don't feel as though it's fair to categorize him as a point.
No, and the reason why. Okay, so here's a counter argument to that. Mark Jackson, a majority of his career was playing on a team to where he did most of the posting up as a
Right.
point guard. Does that make him a center?
No.
Because he is playing in the post majority of the time?
No.
No. So
But that, but this is
LeBron carrying the ball up the court every time is not a factor in
but
that.
no,
What I'm
but
saying
that's
is, but if you have a point guard that's doing it, it means something.
but no,
It's different.
but what I'm saying is if I was building a team from today, when it come to the point guard position, Steph Curry's not going into this is for me. He's
That's
not
you
going.
personally.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but like I'm saying, he's not going into that role for me, and someone else would, like, for instance, because essentially what the Brooklyn Nets had to figure out is pretty much how you would have to roll with a Steph Curry team. Like, okay, you're essentially the shooting guard. Somebody else is the facilitator. Like here, because anytime that I'm giving you the ball, I'm looking for you to score. Like, you know what I mean? I'm looking for you to score, and passing is secondary to what you do. Like, creating an offense is secondary to what you do here.
Yeah. So this is okay. So this is
So
my
I don't feel, and that's not to say that it's a knock on Steph or anything like that. I'm just saying that to say that this is why I don't have him as a top 5 point guard, because that's not your job. Like, yes, you're a point guard in title, but you don't do what point guards do.
Well, this is what I'll counter that with the LeBron statement. LeBron as a small forward, as a wing player, should be playing on the wing and playing off the ball. And he doesn't do what his position is traditionally supposed to do. So do you not count him as a small forward?
No, but see, here's the thing.
Please explain.
No, because I do count him as a small forward, because I look at him as someone that is still like, if I was to put him with Dwayne Wade or someone like that, or put him with James Harden or whoever, he will play he will play that wing position. Like, essentially what I'm saying is essentially what I'm
I
saying
haven't
is
seen him do that though.
But this is what I'm saying is, I guess I have my doubts on Steph Curry being able to fulfill a traditional point guard role. I guess that's what it boils down. That's essentially what it boils down to.
Like, you feel like if you ask LeBron to be a traditional small forward, he would have no problems doing it. And you feel like if you ask Steph to be a traditional point guard, you'd be like, you don't think he's capable. Okay. So you don't. So to me, that's still, like I said, I can't hold that against him if he's not given the opportunity to do that.
Right.
So yes, I understand what you're saying, but I just have to disagree. He's still a point guard to me. He would be in that category.
No, I mean, he is, because I mean that's what his title is.
But even though you see, the thing is, you, for whatever uses that you would have for a point guard,
right,
is the reason why you wouldn't take him. Me, yes, I prefer a traditional point guard, but if you gave me Steph, I would make something work.
Yeah,
Steph.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, I'm taking Steph in today's game regardless. But you know what I'm saying. But I'm just not putting him at point. Like, there's not a world where I'm putting him at point. But
I guess the end of my final question for you. I mean, I'll let you finish. But my final question to you right now. Now I'm curious. It's like, do you have him as a top 5 point guard?
Do I have him as a top 5 point guard? No, I have him as it's funny because
what the fuck do you have him as, Mark?
I have him as one of the greatest players ever, but I don't have him as one of the greatest point guards ever.
So you just don't have a position for him?
No. So
you just consider him a positionless player?
I know essentially I consider him a shooting guard, but I consider him, like I said, I just don't have him at. He's just not one of the
Man,
greatest. Like he's just one of the great. Like I don't know how to make that make sense to you, but like but
I understand what you're saying,
yeah,
and no, I understand what you're saying. What I'm trying to say is this: that lack of faith that you have in his ability to be a traditional point guard, I don't agree with that.
okay.
I feel like he does have the
No,
capabilities.
and listen, and that's fine. He may have the
Yeah,
capabilities or whatever, but I'm going off of what has been shown and what have been seen. Like you know what I'm saying? I like flat out at the point guard position, Rajon Rondo is a better point guard than Steph Curry. Period.
there we go. There we go. This is funny. This is funny, man. So
Like,
yeah, I see what you're doing. You're playing with the words of the position, because that's like saying, look, um, Ryan Fitzpatrick. I mean, he's just a better quarterback than Lamar Jackson.
you could like no yeah
You
like
know, like you
yeah
see what I'm saying? Like,
like
like, come on, man.
but like listen
Look,
but listen
look.
if somebody wanted to say no because essentially if somebody would like on along those lines if somebody was to be like Ryan Fitzpatrick is a better passing quarterback than Lamar Jackson, I'd be like, yeah, you're
A
damn
better
right.
passing. So what I need you to do is adjust what you're saying, Mark. Um, right, Rajon Rondo is a better facilitating point guard
Yes.
than than Steph. I don't want you taking the moniker of point guard away from Steph.
Okay, that's fair. No, that's
Is
fair.
that fair?
That's
Yeah,
fair. That's fair.
I figured that. I feel like instead of taking him out of the category, you should just have a subcategory.
Yes, that's fair. Like that's fair
Okay, yeah.
because there have been point guards and there has been point guards whose job was to score first or whatever, but like throughout the years. But
People forget that Zeke, you know what I'm saying?
right,
Isaiah Thomas was never really a pass first point guard.
right,
You know what I mean? So I wouldn't take that shit away from him. So
yeah. So like I said, that's completely fair to go to get to this point and say yes. Like I do not, I personally at the point guard position prioritize facilitation over everything else,
okay,
and and I and Steph Curry is not a facilitating point guard. He's not. So he's not traditionally a facilitating point guard. So
mm,
it is what it is. I mean,
I,
he's had his years where he's averaged eight assists and stuff like that. But for his career, his assist average is 6. So
yeah, and just to be clear, I'm gonna tell you this: like, if you ask me to start a team today, I'm my first the first person I might pick might be Steph.
mm,
If you're talking about point guards, he's absolutely the first point guard that I would take.
mm.
Just to be clear, so
probably
that's the way I see it. So
probably not for me. Well,
yeah, I
it's
know.
not it's
You
not
already said it.
probably
You already said it.
like at point guard
Yeah.
at point guard. Legitimately, I'm going to tell you the truth. For me,
Say it. Don't you fucking say it, Mark.
to tell you the truth, honestly, at point guard today, my number one pick would probably be James Harden.
Okay. Okay. I thought you were gonna do the homer pick and go with Russ. At least I can respect James Harden. I can respect James
No,
Harden because he could do both. He could do everything.
yeah, no.
So
Like,
I know I
listen,
feel you.
I
Okay. Yeah.
know, I 1,000% know who my guy is. Russ is my
Look.
favorite. I've said it throughout my history. Russ is my
Look.
favorite player, and him being my favorite player, I do not hide away from his faults,
Yeah.
and I accept who he is, and I know what he is.
Yeah. So let me put it this way though. What I will do, Mark, is I'll take 50 points. I'll take the ceiling of a 50 point, 60 point game on 26 shots for the trade-off of 6 assists. I'll do that every day of the week, Mark. Hey, you know what? He's not gonna be the guy that gives you 12 assists, but he could get you a quick 50 or 60. I'm taking the quick 50 or 60, man. I mean, as much as I say that I'm more traditional in my way of thinking for basketball in the NBA, Steph is the outlier for me. Steph is the guy that I would take. That's just primarily offensive when it comes to the point guard position.
Yeah. I mean, this can be a much deeper conversation than what it is
No.
because I could bring up a lot of reasons where you just won't have a fit for Steph because Steph doesn't fulfill that point guard role traditionally. For instance, if you're building an all-time team, Steph kind of gets pushed out because he doesn't fulfill that role.
See, yeah, but if you're building an all-time team, but I also feel like if you give all of the 30 head coaches in the NBA today, if you gave them all Steph Curry,
nobody. But
no, I'm saying this, they would be able to construct an offense that'll work just because you have to respect them at 30 feet.
Right.
That changes everything. That's like, as a novice coach, you could have Steph Curry on your team and just be like, yo, we're going to figure something. Look, they're chasing you out 30 feet. Somebody's going to be open.
No, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? When you beat your man at 25 feet, that's a fucking problem. Somebody's going to step up. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm just saying.
No,
like,
I get it. Yeah. I get it.
Those are first world problems I'm trying to have.
Yeah. All right. So keeping things in the point guard conversation, another point guard that they were talking about saying that he was better than Russ, and this one I did find interesting. They said Chris Paul. Now the obvious answer would be yes. Like off the top of your head, you say to yourself, yes, of course Chris Paul is better than Russ. But when you really think about it, is he? Is he? Russ has what? How many scoring titles? How many scoring titles does Russ have? 9?
I don't know. I know that Chris Paul has 0.
Yeah, exactly.
I know that Chris Paul has 0. But
okay, so Chris Paul has 0 scoring titles. Russ has been to 2 Western Conference Finals, 1 NBA Finals. He's been deep into the playoffs. How many times he's, you know what I mean? Like, and so the accolades by far suggest that Russ is a much better point guard.
Are we really going to sit here and do accolades? Is that what we're going to consider?
No, of course not, because we're the eye test, so it's not about the accolades.
Yeah, man.
It's not about the accolades.
Man, you're getting a little funny on me with this shit, Mark.
I'm not
getting a little funny on me.
Yo, relax, because here's the thing. I'm asking questions. I am asking questions, and all I'm doing is painting the picture. So that way you can have a full view of what the question is that's being asked.
Okay, no. All right, just want to make sure, man. The question's a little funny today, Mark. That's all. The question's a little funny today. That's all.
Listen, Russ broke the triple-double record, so of course we're going. I'm going to give him his flowers. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
that's fair enough.
Like, I'm not going to sit here and talk about the triple-double record all day, but I'm going to keep the conversation around where it should be, because he just broke a record that you probably won't see broken again for at least 30 years.
Well, just real quick, the reason why it won't be broken is because this record is going to get shot to the moon the same way that Steph Curry's 3-point record is going to get shot to the moon.
Right.
Like, yeah. But, okay, man. So, what were you at? You see, I got distracted. What were you asking me again?
I said, is it fair to say that CP3 is obviously better than Russ?
CP3. Okay, look, man. And this is my quick answer is obvious maybe it's not easy to just say it obviously. But to me, Mark, I think he's clearly the better point guard. I think people forget. I'm talking about all-time list. I think people forget what Chris Paul was doing in his prime. And I think that Chris Paul, like many other players that are great, they get discounted because of their lack of a ring. Now,
hold up. I just want to kill that argument right there because
why?
Because that argument goes for both. So it's not a viable argument.
No. I get that. What I'm saying, but what I'm saying is this: he's a guy that's going to get discounted already. Even if you're not comparing him to Russ, he's a guy that already gets discounted.
But I'm not. But for this conversation, we're comparing him to Russ. So let's keep it to Russ.
I am getting there because the one thing that you mentioned offline is that Russ has been to a championship.
Yes.
Okay. So once again,
no, but I mentioned that here too.
Yeah, but that's what we're going to talk about. So not only is he getting discounted because he hasn't got a ring, but he hasn't gotten to a chip. So if you want to say that's one of the differences, then I feel like yes, he's going to get discounted. Tracy McGrady never got to a chip, but there's a plethora of people that he's better than at the two guard position, and he'll get his respect. What I'm saying is, certain guys, when you're a pass first guy, already you're not going to get the respect that you deserve. That goes for CP3 more than Russ, because Russ is seen as a shoot first guy, even though he has been playing differently over the last few years.
Few years? Like,
yeah.
I mean, like,
yeah. It's been like 4 or 5 years. Yeah.
No, it's been few would suggest 3 or less. So
come on, Doug. You know what I'm saying? It's less than half of his career. Or maybe right around half of his career. It's not the majority of his career. He's been
I would say about half of half of his
it's not the majority. It's still not the majority. So we're not gonna act like it's the majority. So, let me get to my points a little quicker. Chris Paul immediately improves the amount of wins that you're going to get with the team. Matter of fact, he will improve the play of younger players around him. He will make certain players look like superstars. David West has never been considered near a superstar level other than the fucking time that he played with Chris Paul. Let's keep it a buck. We all know what Blake Griffin looks like now. Okay? Let's keep it a buck. So Chris Paul has this ability to elevate not just, fringe superstar players, but he has the ability to elevate other players, such as guys like DeAndre Jordan, who should have never gotten anything, the amount of money that he ever got. This is what Chris Paul is going to do. And Chris Paul, it's crazy because a lot of his problems come from injury. And that's one of the things that gets held against him, is his lack of health, and being he always gets injured in the playoffs. That has ended a lot of things. Multiple people have said, if Chris Paul didn't get hurt, the Rockets would have beat the Warriors. You know what I'm saying? Meanwhile, you got a healthy Russ. You know what I'm saying? That isn't that difference maker. Not to that degree. Okay? So what I'm saying is, when you remove Chris Paul from a team, shambles. When you add Chris Paul to a team, Oklahoma City was trying to tank, and they were trying to tank, and they ended up going to the playoffs. You see what I'm saying? Like the Chris Paul effect, adding him to a team, even at this age in this late in his career, he's still that much of a difference maker. He does so much in a locker room. Somehow, I'm saying, I don't even know if I want to say locker room. I'll say on the court. He influences players on the court and on the bench. I don't know about his locker room antics, but he has an effect on the entire team when he shows up. And I think whatever effect that he has is a little bit is
Historically, his effect has not been great.
that's why I tried to separate that real quick and say not locker room, just on the court. Just on the court, because his locker room shit is different. Like, but but all in all, Chris Paul, people forget about his prime. People forget about his prime numbers. So um I'll be I'll look that up while you give your opinion on this situation because I want to hear what you got to say. But to me, all in all, just from well, my last argument is defense, and that's the biggest. That's to me that's everything is close until you talk about defense. Once you talk about defense, that's what makes it clear to me. I don't think it's just a big obvious thing because of Russ's triple doubles and achievements and accolades, you know, and getting an MVP and doing all that stuff. That's what makes it closer for Russ. But the one thing that's going to always set it apart is Chris Paul being, you know, all time, you know, first team all defense, first team all defense. So that makes it clear for me that Chris Paul is better.
Okay. Um. Surprise, surprise, but my eyes tell me that Chris Paul is a better point guard than Russell Westbrook.
Mm-hmm.
The numbers, the paper doesn't really say that, but my eyes tell me that I would rather have Chris Paul at point than Russell Westbrook. Um, you are correct. This when it comes to defense, he is better. He is far better and superior than Russ. Um, but I will say this like it there are a lot of intangibles that come with Chris Paul on the court um, that you can't quite put your finger on because like the facilitating that he does um it's like yes Russ has the facilitating is Russ definitely has the scoring over him even though like his shots attempts are much higher. um it would seem like I guess you watch him and his decision making is better. Like you know what I mean. His decision making with the ball
Mm-hmm.
is is much better. Um,
Yeah.
so I would tend to say yes. See, Chris Paul is better than Russ, but it's not something you where you would count Russ out because you brought up Russ makes players makes other players. I mean, excuse me, not Russ. You brought up
CP3.
CP3 making other players better, and I would bring up the fact that, like I said, Bradley Beal this year, like you know what I mean, he is number two in the scoring title uh, to Steph Curry. Like he's only like
Yeah.
you know what I mean, and partial of the reason why he's number two is because he's been missing games lately. You know what I mean,
Mm-hmm.
And Steph hasn't. But
Yeah.
so he's been neck and neck with Steph Curry and for the scoring title with Russ as his teammate, and we all know that the Wizards had nothing prior to that. You know what I'm saying? Like other outside of Russ and Bradley Beal, they don't got shit. So the fact that they're in the play in is another thing for them. And much like CP3, when Russ when Russ had Oklahoma City, nobody expected Oklahoma City to make the playoffs when it was just Russ. They was like, oh, they basically was waiting like, oh, what is he going to do? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like they was waiting to clown,
Mm-hmm.
but he made the playoffs. He made the playoffs, and then later on it was like, oh well, Victor Oladipo can play, so and so can play. You know what I mean? Like this, that, and the third. But like you
Mm-hmm.
didn't know who these people were, or what they could do, prior to being on the team with Russ, and then they went elsewhere and elevated their game further. And and I guess that's another area where I would say CP3 I is a little bit different. You argued you argued that, well, what happened to Blake Griffin when he left? Well, Blake Griffin was also older and a few injuries later.
Did
Like,
you expect him to fall off like that though?
you never know what to expect when it comes to people that get injuries
Okay,
and shit.
Mark. Okay, well let's just dead this shit right here. Did you think that while he was playing with the Clippers, Blake Griffin was a guy that was capable of creating his own shot and being a number one option on the team?
Did I? No. Did you say prior? You said prior to who?
I
Sorry.
said while he was playing with the Clippers, when he was playing with the Clippers with Chris Paul, did you think that Blake Griffin was a guy that could be a number one option on the team, or and that do you think that he was a guy that could create his own shot to be able to get the points that he was getting?
Um. No, not necessarily. No.
What I'm saying is his stats. So even if he was healthy when he left and left to go be a number one somewhere else, you feel like do you feel like his numbers would have dropped regardless of injury?
I I kind yeah. Like I
You see,
never I
so
never
so that's
thought
what I'm
that
saying.
I
Like
never felt as though Blake Griffin was like
as
that
good as
dude.
his numbers, everybody knows the reason why his numbers was like that. Everybody knew that if Blake Griffin went somewhere else, his numbers would drop because he can't get another Chris Paul somewhere else.
Right.
That's a one of one. Everybody knew that once Blake Griffin leaves, his numbers is going to drop regardless because he is not going to have another Chris Paul.
That's fair. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That's so. I mean, yes, maybe he wouldn't have fell so hard and so fast, but I was expecting a fall.
Yeah. Um yeah, that's fair. So, yeah, I guess that's all I really there's no need to belabor
Mhm.
the point. We've done enough of this talking about Mr. Triple Double and his comparisons to his peers. Um, I will say this though, even even with that, there's there's an energy and a and there's an energy and an excitement that Russ brings to the game that you can't take away from him. And if I feel as though it's unfortunate because he had the team, they had the team that they needed, and they broke him up at the wrong time. They like
Yeah.
K KD, Harden, and Russ was the team. They broke him up.
I personally think if they would have stayed on the same team, the Warriors would not. They would have never became the Warriors.
Yeah, there's
And I'm saying that before KD went there. I'm talking about the Warriors that won the chip
right.
against Cleveland. I don't think they would have been there to win that chip. So
No, you're absolutely right. Like I don't believe that would have happened.
yeah, we would
Um
have been talking about the Thunder the way we talk about the Warriors now.
yes. So but it's unfortunate that that didn't happen. So next, I guess seeing how we're having a conversation of narratives, I guess we let's just flip sports and have another conversation of narrative. Um, Aaron Rodgers, man, he wants out of Green Bay. He is kicking and screaming and well, it's funny enough, you don't really hear it necessarily coming from him, but you hear it from every other source saying that he's kicking and screaming and he wants out of Green Bay. and people are saying it's getting to the point where Green Bay has to make this move. Before I get into my conversation, I want to just ask if Green Bay were so hard set and so in love with Aaron Rodgers, what the hell did you get Jordan Love for in the first round last year?
Mark, for the same reason, God, I can't believe I'm fucking saying this. For the same reason that the Steelers drafted Mason Rudolph. Because Bam was acting like a little bitch and they needed him to line up. You know, I don't know, maybe I'll retire, maybe I won't. And they wanted a light of fire under Ben's ass, okay? And that's what they did. They went and drafted Mason Rudolph. Now, Green Bay was way more disrespectful with the way they did their shit because they were just like, look, not only are we gonna draft a quarterback, we're gonna draft a quarterback that is mobile and has an arm. A little rough around the edges, but we're gonna get somebody that can somewhat, you know, that can somewhat fulfill the needs that we feel like we need. And we're gonna draft them in the first round. And you know, with the way that they did it was so greasy just because it's like there wasn't like he needed a fire lit under him. They were just mad that he don't like the offense. So they was like, okay, you don't like the offense? That's cool. We'll just draft another quarterback. You know what I'm saying? They definitely was trying to put him in his place, Mark. They were trying to, you know, Pittsburgh was trying to light a fire under Ben Roethlisberger's ass. You know what I'm saying? And you could tell because of who they drafted. They drafted Mason Rudolph. They weren't trying to be ultra disrespectful. They was like, we're going to draft a quarterback, but it can't be nobody that's actually good. We'll just draft Mason Rudolph. We'll just let him know that his replacement, we're going to bring somebody in to study under him. And you know what I'm saying? When Green Bay went and drafted Jordan Love, it was more of a sense of they knew that it was going to raise the question of, wow, are they moving on from Aaron Rodgers? How soon are they going to move on from Aaron Rodgers? They know Aaron Rodgers want to play another 10 years. You know what I'm saying? They know that. So, yeah, they did that shit to piss him off. They did that shit to piss him off, and they did that to try to put him in his place to make him comply and be more to be less rebellious. And sure as shit, Mark, like everybody thought it would, it's just backfiring.
Yeah. Well,
like I don't know who's GMing up there, but they doing a horrible job, Mark.
Yeah, and
if you chase real quick before you get, if you chase Aaron Rodgers out of Green Bay and replace him with Jordan Love, look, man, whatever you think is gonna happen, it's not gonna happen because those fans are going to turn on you.
Yeah, I will say this: this is clearly a sign of an archaic mindset. Green Bay is sitting here trying to have their cake and eat it too, much like they did with the Brett Favre, Aaron Rodgers era. Except for that was 16 years ago. Like the NFL has changed since then. You can't draft quarterbacks in the first round anymore and expect them to sit but for so long.
The owner ain't going to be cool with that.
But here's the thing. Green Bay doesn't have an owner. Green Bay.
That is true. They have a majority 51% shareholder.
Right.
But yes, the fans own the team. And the shareholder person doesn't really have ultimate say like that. You're right. So yes, Mark. But what I'm trying to say is they can't be out here pissing off the fans that own the team.
Right. But so here's the thing, man. What I don't get is why move around and try to do all this instead of just drafting a fucking wide receiver? Like, how hard is that? Like, why are you so dug in that you don't want to draft a wide receiver? Like, it's like that's his only issue, and you're like, no.
I guess my problem with it is all the reports and all the stuff that you see it's all centered around LaFleur. Like as a GM, you're telling the world that LaFleur has all the power in that organization. And when you and then so you got LaFleur out here just gallivanting, spitting out lies like, nah, we ain't got no problems. And then behind the scenes, he's just like, yo, you gonna do exactly what the fuck I say or get the hell up out of here. You know what I'm saying? And the whole scenario was just crazy because I'm like you said, all you have to do is get him a wide receiver. All you have to do is get him a wide receiver. And it's like, it's almost like LaFleur showed up and said, look at me. You know what I'm saying? I'm the captain now. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's the way this whole thing has been playing out is that's how it looks like to me. Like, he came in and knew that Aaron Rodgers, everybody knows Aaron Rodgers' reputation for being stubborn, for being an asshole. They know his situation with his family. I've seen too many memes talking about this man disowned his whole family. You know what I'm saying? What makes you think you're going to win this standoff? Like, I've seen all this shit. So they knew his reputation walking into it. And it's like, yo, if you're going to establish this role, and you're going to establish your dominance, you got to establish that shit right away. Mm-hmm. And I feel like that's what they try to do. They try to make him bend the knee as soon as they showed up. And he didn't the first year. Remember, Mark, he had this very, very pedestrian numbers. And then he didn't throw very many touchdowns. He didn't throw many picks. He was throwing all kinds of balls away. He literally looked like he was just trying his best to make the offense look like trash. And then when he realized they wasn't going to trade him, because they were like, no, we know what he's doing. We're not going to trade him. He comes in the next year and he's like, fuck it. You know what? Maybe I'll at least try to do what I can. And then you find out this man is saying that his headsets ain't working. He's changing plays in huddle, which apparently he was doing the year before too. So like he's ignoring it and making it work his way. And they're allowing it to happen to a certain degree because, he's winning games. So now you're at the point where they're just like, look, man, it's been 2 years to where we can't get this dude to cooperate with us. Mm-hmm. It's like we're trying to get him we're trying to put him in his place and he won't do it. So now Mark started the smear campaign. So you have the drafting of the quarterback. You had the smear campaign. They still won't draft a wide receiver. You know what I'm saying? This whole thing is just crazy to me. Like, they're literally just saying, look, Aaron Rodgers, the only way that you can either stay here and be miserable or you can stay here and make it work. But you ain't getting what you want and you're not leaving. So, I mean, people might be offering trades and all this stuff, but I'm going to tell you right now, I don't see a situation to where Green Bay is going to trade Aaron Rodgers. This is not even about football anymore. That's what it looks like to me.
Yeah. Well, listen, I find that whole thing just wild to me. Like, but
they're wilding for sure, yeah.
But the even wilder part is that Aaron Rodgers, last time I checked, he's under contract. Yeah. Last time I checked, he signed for some money a few years ago, but he's still under contract, and he's saying I want out. But what no one is doing, everybody seems to be like, it's cool. Aaron Rodgers wants out. You guys need to trade him. And I find it interesting that the narrative around Aaron Rodgers wanting out is quite parallel to Deshaun Watson wanting out of Houston. But no one is questioning Aaron Rodgers saying, well, you signed a contract. You got to honor that. You got to do this. You know what I'm saying? Why did you sign?
You're right. Nobody has said it. Matter of fact, I don't think I've heard it all yet. So.
Yeah. No one says Aaron Rodgers needs to honor that contract. He signed it. Or, you know what I mean? You got to play for that team, blah, blah, blah. You got to work it out. Everyone's putting all the onus on the Packers.
I will say this. There has been one person that has said it. But nobody gives a fuck that he said it because he's starting to get a little senile in his old age. Terry Bradshaw is the only person to
You're
come
right.
out and say it. But for the last year and a half, he ain't been right up here, man. He ain't been right, so everybody's just ignoring it because it's Terry Bradshaw. He's just and it's just Terry. It's old ass Terry. You know what I'm saying? Don't worry about that. You know. Yeah, but Terry Bradshaw's the only one, and his voice is not big enough. But it's crazy that and once again, I'm sitting here doing the same thing. I'm just dismissing it as he's being crazy. He's not in his right mind. If he was in his right mind, he wouldn't be saying these things, you know.
Right.
And that's the truth, man. The mainstream media is, you know, how much how much disdain I have for this man, Aaron Rodgers. The mainstream media loves him. They're not gonna do it. They're not gonna do it. I would hope that somebody would, but I'm not gonna hold my fucking breath. So
I just find I find it interesting, like, you know what I mean, like the slack that Deshaun Watson got in the beginning of wanting out, it versus the slack that Aaron Rodgers is getting. Aaron Rodgers is non-existent. Like, yes, you had people that was on Deshaun Watson's side, like Houston, Houston's a terrible organization, blah blah blah. But there was a lot of detractors that was like, well, he needs to out of their contract. He signed it, blah 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 blah.
Yeah. Where the fuck is Doug Gottlieb now? Where is he at? I'm looking for Doug Gottlieb. Those guys,
you know, what I'm
saying all that.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
Like, you don't got none of that to say when it comes to Aaron Rodgers, and I just find that to be very interesting, man. So
interesting, but not surprising.
Yeah, not surprising at all, unfortunately. So, with that, man, there isn't a whole lot left to say. I do want to bring up the fact, just in MMA news, I want to bring this up before I forget. MMA news: Clarissa Shields will be having her first fight soon, and if anyone that listened to our previous episode, UFC 261, you would review. We talked about how boxing is becoming more prevalent in MMA, or particularly the UFC, and Clarissa Shields coming from a multi weight class champion in boxing to being to going to the MMA world. I am very excited to see this because
I am too.
because we have seen what these traditional wrestlers or traditional martial artists are able to do once they start incorporating boxing. So I'm really excited to see what a traditional boxer does when incorporating martial arts.
Yeah. In the only example, I would say the best or closest example we have to that is Holly Holm. But you got to understand, when Holly Holm showed up, she was almost 40.
Yeah, and she was also a kickboxer.
And she also was a kickboxer. So that she does a lot more kickboxing than boxing skills. But if you notice, she has good defense standing up, and then she also has good footwork. So we already know. I mean, that's something that I'm expecting to see from Clarissa Shields. But what I will say is this: she got some props, some congratulations from Conor McGregor. He came out and kind of praised her for her decision to go and do MMA and said a bunch of things, and then he also chose that moment to call out the male counterparts, as he said, that don't have the balls to do what she's doing, make the transition from boxing to MMA. So who knows what Conor is trying to set up? But Mark, I told you I didn't like this man in the beginning, and after his first loss that I've seen him take, him being humble, it changed the way I thought about him. And this is just another instance where he's the only MMA person I've seen. Well, I'm not going to say he's the only one, but he's one of the few that I've seen that has made mention of this. And considering how big his name is and how many followers he has, it's kind of a big deal. And you know what I'm saying? I appreciate that.
Yeah. So, um, yeah, man. With that being said, I think. Oh, there is one last thing. Schedule. NFL schedule officially comes out tomorrow night. I guess the release is 8 p.m. Tomorrow night. But is there? I guess that we all know what matchup I'm really excited for to figure out what date that's going to be, which is the Raiders versus Eagles game. Can't wait for that.
Hmm.
We will be in the building for that, so you know what I'm saying.
Yes.
So that'll be fun. But I don't really have anything else that I really want to talk about today. Is there anything that you would like to talk about before we head out of here? Anything that that sticks out in your mind?
um, shoot. Tim Tebow.
Oh yes, how could I forget
Mm.
Tim Tebow?
Yeah, I just remembered Tim Tebow.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's dig into this real quick, man. So, for those that don't know, um, was that yesterday? Yesterday morning, news came out that Tim Tebow was at the Jacksonville Jaguars facility
Mm-hmm.
doing a tryout. About 4 hours later, the news came out that he was basically, unofficially gonna sign to the Jags at the position of tight end.
Mm-hmm.
And then there then came the excitement from certain people about Tim Tebow, showing up, asking how much of an impact he's going to have, and all these things. And then shortly after that came the people that question, hey, why is it that he's all of a sudden in the league and you have a guy, he hasn't been working out to do anything, or trying to sharpen his skills or do anything, and he hasn't seen the league in what, 10 years, it seems. I'm saying 10 years, I'm exaggerating, 8 years. And yet Colin Kaepernick has not been afforded an opportunity, or no, he hasn't gotten any calls. So that was definitely immediately brought up. um First, I just want to tackle the situation of Tim Tebow getting signed by the Jaguars to play tight end in what seemingly seems like it came completely out of nowhere. What are your thoughts on that, Mark?
Um, I would say that Tim Tebow coming to the team to play tight end. I don't know where this is coming from. I don't know why you would want Tim Tebow on your team. I will say this: college coaches do not seem to understand the NFL culture. Like,
Clueless. They about to eat Tim Tebow alive. Go ahead.
yeah, but like college coaches do not seem to understand the NFL culture. In that, I say that to because in this you have Urban Meyer who is not thinking about how the team will view this.
It's a
Like
fucking scumbag.
you know what I mean?
Sorry, gotta throw that
But
out there every time you say his name.
yeah, he's not thinking about how the team will view this. Because essentially he would be taking up a slot of someone else. That has played the position and more than likely is a lot better at it than he is. But I will also say this: him being signed today to the team does not mean he makes a team.
Hmm.
He has to actually
He's
make
probably not gonna make the team, is what I'll
right.
say. But that's I don't even think that's the point of this conversation.
Like him, like him being signed to. I would say this that a little bit, but a lot of this is much to do about nothing, because just because he's on the team right now doesn't mean that he'll do anything. It's essentially like him. Like when the Mets signed him, yeah, he was signed to the Mets, but what did he do on the Mets? He never played an actual MLB game. Like, you know what I mean? Like he played in the minors. Like,
You
and
mean like J. Cole signing to the Detroit Pistons?
yeah, exactly. Like
It,
like this is a publicity stunt. He's
you mean like the Rams signing Michael Sam? Okay, all right. I'm going too far. I'm going too far. My bad. Hold on. I'll slow down. Okay, go ahead.
or the
Hey.
Seahawks signing Shaquille Griffin.
Oh, dog, you come on, man. you know, you know what? That might have been too far, Mark. That might have been too
Listen,
far. But go.
that's listen. It's not Shaquille's fault. It's not his fault. It's the Seahawks' fault because he can actually play, but they're going to pretend like he. But they're not going to put him out on the field. But he signed it. But he signed an NFL contract and he's getting money. So what can I?
I hate people, man. But go ahead.
But yeah. So, but essentially, he. I doubt that he even makes the team. So it's. I guess I will. I want to say it's not really worth getting bothered by it because this is a publicity stunt. He's a Jacksonville guy that that was from your team, the Gators, and
Hmm.
and he um and he's getting signed to Jacksonville Jaguars. It's just it's much to do about nothing. He's not. I highly doubt
This
he'll
is
be on the final day roster.
this shit. Okay, man. So this is the thing that kills me about this shit. So Urban Meyer is completely clueless, man, and I think he's a narcissistic asshole. But with that said, this is the type of moves that somebody like that would do. You know, yes, I understand it's Jacksonville. Mark, everything that you know about Jacksonville culture. First off, they don't call it Jacksonville. They call it they call it Duval County. They
Mm-hmm.
don't call it Jacksonville. I don't know nobody from Duval that fucks with any other place outside of Duval.
Mm.
They don't them people there that are gonna be going to these Jaguars games do not give a they don't give a crap. They don't give a hell a
Mm-hmm.
fuck about Tebow being there, man. They weren't watching Tebow play in college. You know what I'm saying? That's what I'm saying. Like, I don't understand why they like so it can't be for that reason. Just
Mm.
because he's in Florida, right? Like, and then to me, I feel like Urban Meyer is going into this and let's
Mm.
keeping it real, like it wasn't really a big splash when he drafted Trevor Lawrence because everybody knew they was going to draft Trevor Lawrence. And I feel like he was just trying to make headlines, Mark. I feel like he's trying to be the person responsible for bringing fans into the Jacksonville Jaguars stadium, something that no other head coach or person before him has ever been able to do. I feel like that's what he's trying to do with his tenure here. So he's trying to. It's almost like it's a security blanket that he's trying to put in place. If I suck as a coach, if I'm putting butts in the seats, they'll keep me around.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? I feel like that's what he's doing. He's strategizing here, Mark, because you know how I feel about Urban Meyer. Nothing he does is by accident. You know, not even his illnesses are by accident, Mark. So, or supposed illnesses, alleged illnesses are none of his alleged illnesses are by accident.
Listen, you gotta
That's how
let
I
that go,
feel.
man. You can't help
Dog,
when a
I'm
man is
not because he
sick.
just did the same shit to Ohio State. Look, I'm not letting this shit go. He did it twice. I'm not letting this shit go. But
A man
but
can't be sick. Is that what we're saying?
that man's sick. He always sick all the way up until the point that he get another job offer. But anyways, no, I feel like he just did that shit for splash. He's trying to put butts in the seat. I feel like he's doing that for personal reasons. But the first thing that I thought of, Mark, when I heard Tim Tebow was getting signed to the Jaguars at tight end position,
Mm-hmm.
I immediately thought to myself, man, I wonder what the hell Trevor Lawrence is going through right now. like Trevor Lawrence got to be thinking to himself, like, it's already bad enough. I'm going to the Jaguars. I mean, we could probably make the situation work. We got some wide receivers here. You know what I'm saying? Urban Meyer is here. So, but at the same time, once something like this happens, you got to be thinking, like,
excuse me.
You know what? I was kind of excited about Urban Meyer being here, but now I'm thinking he's the first-time head coach in the NFL. He just signed Tim Tebow. Like, I don't know. If I was Trevor Lawrence, I have to talk to Urban Meyer and be like, "Yo, man, what the fuck you doing right now? Are you playing games over here, or instead of trying to figure out how we gonna win right now? Like, but I don't know. All in all,
you would talk to your coach like that? You wild."
Yeah, maybe I wouldn't have, but you know what I'm saying? That's what I was thinking. You know what I'm saying? I said, bitch. But you said it though, right? Yeah, I did. But look, man, all I know is that I would have at least wanted to have a conversation with him. That is real. I would have at least like, yo, I know I just got here.
But can we talk about this?
Yeah, we signed Tebow. Oh shit, what are your plans for him? You know what? I would have had to disguise it or something. But like, yeah, what's your plans for him? You know what I'm saying? I'm just curious to see what kind of offense you're gonna run. I'm excited to play.
Right.
I would have came up with something, Mark, but I wouldn't have let nobody sign Tim Tebow at tight end on my team as a quarterback and not ask any questions about it.
Yeah.
But that's real.
I understand. I understand you, sir. All right. So, hey, I don't have much else, man. I don't know where else we could take this. So, I'm cool with leaving this one here where it stands. It was a good one. We had a good conversation about Mr. Triple Double. You know what I'm saying? And that is his name is now Russell Recordbook. You just gonna
Russell Recordbook.
You're just gonna have to let that be what it is. You know what I'm saying?
Look, there's gonna be some really disgusted people. I was gonna say this earlier, but I'm glad I waited to the end. There's gonna be some really disgusted people with you, Mark. They're gonna be really disgusted with you in this episode. You know what I mean?
Why?
That you really spent a whole hour talking about Russell Westbrook.
I didn't. I spent the whole hour talking about other players.
In reference to Russell Westbrook. Look, man, however you had to sneak it in there, you had to sneak it in there. It was clever. It was clever, Mark. But if I don't do anything else this week, I will make sure that Rob, my cousin Robert, gets this episode and he listens to it. Because I'm telling you right now, somebody, he's going to be disgusted. And we might be able to get him on next week's episode.
But what have I said that was so disgusting?
Nothing. It's what you've been doing.
What have I done?
Nothing. You centered 2/3 of this episode around Russell Westbrook.
What would you have rather it been?
You know what? Nah, that's fine. I just if it was done and it just so happened to be coincidence, maybe I'll be a little bit more okay with this. But clearly you strategized and there was deep thought put behind this to be like, how can I do this without it coming off as me just being a super fan of Russell Westbrook? It's cool. You executed it perfectly, Mark. It came out just, just mwah, you know what I'm saying? Like, it was perfect, you know what I'm saying? But I mean, the haters are going to be able to see right through that shit, Mark. They're going to be able to see it. Just
all I did
expect the darts to come your way, Mark.
All I did was ask questions about Steph Curry, and I got answers about Steph Curry, who's also performing admirably this year. I mean, he's on a tear. He's going scoring title, and they are not going. And
that's the most disrespectful admirably that I've ever heard anybody give to somebody. Mr. Russell Recordbook, Mr. Triple Double, all this other shit. Steph's been playing admirably,
No, I'm just saying, but Steph is doing what he does. Nobody disrespects Steph. So, I don't feel the need to run to Steph's defense like, no, dog, you got to relax because nobody is making false narratives about Steph Curry.
You'll have to give him the backhanded admirably comment.
But like, no, legitimately, Steph Curry this year. Here's a real thing. Steph Curry has also silenced his haters this year.
This is exactly what I expected Steph Curry to do last season, but then he had a mysteriously season-long hand injury or some shit. I don't know, but yes, no. This is what I was expecting. Like as soon as Clay got hurt and all that shit, I was like, yo, Steph's gonna get MVP next year. And then Steph got hurt. So like this is everything that I expected to see from Steph in this type of situation. You're right.
Yeah. So like,
not at this efficiency though. I'm not gonna lie. Not at this efficiency.
Like, dog, no. I'm not. Like the way that he's been playing is fantastic. This team was like halfway through the season, they were not supposed to be making the playoffs. And now they're in a position to where they will have a bona fide slot in the playoffs, not a play-in spot.
They about to
knock the Lakers into the play-in tournament.
They are.
So
I wholeheartedly believe that's what's happening here, but yeah.
So like, and we're talking about no Clay, you know what I'm saying? Like the team isn't the team that everybody thought was going to be. Everybody didn't think Andrew Wiggins was worth a damn, and Andrew Wiggins turned out to be better than what he was advertised as, I guess.
You know who else silenced a lot of people? Steve Kerr.
Yeah.
You have to remember, this is still a ragtag crew. These guys that are starting are guys that weren't here last year.
Mm-hmm.
When you talk about, picking up Andrew Wiggins and all this other shit, this is, you know how the NBA is. Usually you need a full season or more.
Yeah.
And we're not talking about they picked up 2 superstars in off season. No, they picked up Andrew Wiggins and Kelly Oubre. And Steve Kerr is making it work. Okay, so Steve Kerr silenced a lot of people. I'm one of those people.
You and I
I'm not gonna sit here in front. I'm one of those people.
You and I both are one of those questions because we had questions.
He gave answers. I had questions, and I felt like I didn't fully go in on Steve Kerr being a subpar coach, because I felt like, I need to see what he's going to do without the players. And this year he has shown us that. So,
yeah.
Kudos, Steve Kerr.
Yes, Steve Kerr has done well. Steph Curry has done extremely well on his way to a scoring title. See, look at that. I just talked about Steph Curry without even bringing anything else up.
Yeah, that was a good job on you. I know that should probably felt like, gritting your teeth, probably felt like eating sandpaper for you, Mark, but
why?
You
why
did
would
good.
Why would it do that? Why?
Because he's not even a point guard to you, Mark.
Listen, whether he's a point guard to me or not, he is still, in my eyes, one of the greatest players ever. Point guard or not.
Got you. All right. Respect.
So, like, he just doesn't do it for me at point guard. I would be like, I would play him at shooting guard and be like, and have somebody else play that position.
Mm-hmm.
But
yeah.
Anyway, man. So we are at the end of yet another episode, and this is where we bid you adieu. We say thank you for joining us today on our journey through sports. And we thank you for listening to our opinions and our back and forths, if you will. And we just hope that you would join us again next time here at the Eye Test. So, I will say this as I say always. Link, like, and subscribe. Please help us grow to be bigger than what we already are. And help us to make this a global thing. And lastly, I will say this. If you mess with us, we mess with y'all. So please mess with us so we can mess with y'all. And I'm just saying mess because I don't want to curse. Namaste.
Oh,
Thank you.
all right, Ahmad Rashad. That was beautiful. That was beautiful.
All right.
Until next episode, folks.
All right.
Peace.
Peace.